For years, thousands have pushed and advocated for compensation for individuals who were affected by nuclear fallout from government bomb testing sites in the 1950s, with Jim County residents being one of the biggest populations impacted. I'm your M&A reporter Alexander Huddleston, and I speak with a few locals after Idaho was stripped from the most recent proposed bill for compensation.
Growing up here, that if you didn't die from a car accident, then you died from cancer. This is called the Valley of Plenty, and now it seems more like the Valley of Death.
Nearly 80 years after the U.S. began testing its nuclear bombs in southern Nevada, thousands are still suffering the effects of nuclear fallout.
It was very top secret. Nobody knew what was going on. Nobody knew what radiation was to speak of. Nobody knew what fallout was.
If you've been in Idaho or your family's been in Idaho since the 50s and 60s, you will have cancer in your family.
The Idaho Downwinders have been advocating for compensation for the hundreds of thousands who were impacted by those government projects. In 1990, the government approved the Radio Exposure Compensation Act, or RECA.
In order to get the $50,000, you have to have had one of 19 acceptable types of cancer, and then you have to prove that you lived in a compensated county for 2 years.
Eltona Henderson has seen dozens of her family members battle cancer.
46 now that my niece has cancer.
Over the last few years, Henderson has worked with Idaho Senators Jim Risch and Mike Crapo to rework legislation to make it easier for people to claim compensation. The bill proposed offered folks $100,000, capping the total payout at $5 billion. But now the language in this legislation has been changed by Missouri Senator Josh Hawley and Utah Senator Mike Lee, including more states in the compensation, but Idaho was removed altogether. A statement from Senator Risch says while Idaho Downwinders are still left out, he is actively fighting to ensure that affected Idahoans receive due recognition and are included in the program. But time is running out as President Trump is wanting the legislation on his desk by July 4th. Michelle Chadwick, who lost her husband Danny to multiple different cancers last year, says she is keeping hope alive.
The only way that we're going to get this through is to have a call to action and to have the president understand that this is what the government has done to our mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters and children. We need to keep saying their names, and we need to keep crying those tears because they're worth it. And it's sad that the government didn't think that they were.
I reached out to Senator Hawley for comment on the removal, but have yet to hear back. I am your M&A reporter Alexander Huddleston for Idaho News 6.